Friday, April 2nd, 2021 at 2:30 p.m.
So moved.
Second.
Moving in second. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Carter?
Next, we have some boards and commission appointments. The following boards and commissions are as follows: the Creator Regional Partnership, the Greensville Employer Welfare Board, the Mid-Atlantic Manufacturing Center Regional Industrial Facility Authority, the Southside Regional Jail Authority, the Southside Virginia Education Center Board of Directors, the Southside Virginia Community College Board, and the Greensville County Subcommittee on Education. For those boards that I've listed, we have a temporary appointment that will fill the unexpired term of Ms. Brenda Carson, former county administrator. Mr. Gary Cyphers, acting county administrator, will serve until a county administrator is hired and the board approves the new appointment. We can have one motion to approve all of those.
So moved.
Second.
And moving in second to approve. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Carter?
We will now have a recess to go into water and sewer, so we can approve some matters in water and sewer in regards to appointing an acting director of the Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority. Once we have this approval, we will then come back to the regular agenda for the board meeting. So we will need a motion to recess.
Second.
And moving in second for the recess. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Carter?
Mr. Kane, we will now need a motion to return to regular session for the Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority.
We have a motion for the regular session for water and sewer. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Carter?
For the, we also need certification of closed meeting for water and sewer. That's resolution WS 21-39. We need a motion followed by roll call.
We got a motion. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Carter?
We have the approval of the agenda with an amended item. The additional item includes other matters. So for the other matters, we do have resolution WS 21-43. That is the appointment of Mr. Glenn Gibson as acting director of Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority, effective immediately. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Carter?
We need a motion to recess the Water and Sewer Authority Board meeting and return to the regular session of the Greensville County Board of Supervisors meeting.
So moved. To recess. Go back to the regular session. So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Carter?
Right, we need a motion to return to the regular session of the Greensville County Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
And moving in second. Go back in regular session. All in favor? Roll call vote.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Carter?
The first item, or the next item we have on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which includes the approval of the minutes from the March 15th board meeting, budgetary matters, and warrants, and the resolution as far as the personnel matters. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
And moving in second. Approve the consent agenda as a minute. All in favor? With a roll call vote.
Ms. Ashcraft?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Carter?
Tonight, we have a public hearing scheduled in regards to the proposed lease between Greensville County and the Washington Park Group LLC. We will need a motion to go into public hearing.
So moved.
And moving in second. For the public hearing. All in favor? With a roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Carter?
Mr. Lynn Pope was here to present.
Good evening. We're having the public hearing tonight, due to, the impending lease we need to get signed between, Greensville County and the Washington Park LLC for the Washington Park Community Facility. Enclosed in your agenda packet is a copy of the lease. I know there were some, numbers out of sequence. We've corrected those numbers. Anybody have any questions about the proposed lease of the community facility in Washington Park?
I have a question about, number 15, liability insurance.
Yes.
What's the rate on that and who pays it?
we carry your normal property insurance. The county does. Typically, what we've done, if you read the lease, we don't charge rent, they just repay us the property insurance. That property insurance is only $236 a year. Just like any rental situation, if you had a rental house or any piece of rental property, it's up to the tenant to get the liability insurance in case something they causes a fire or whatever, they would need the liability insurance. And so that would be up to the Washington Park LLC to get the liability insurance.
Okay.
Are there any other questions, concerns? That's all I have.
If you all have no other additional questions for Mr. Pope, is there anyone from the public who would like to speak in regards to the proposed lease between Greensville County and the Washington Park Group LLC? If there are none, we'll move on. We will need a motion to return to regular session.
Second.
And move in second into regular session. All in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Cole.
We're now on to resolution 21-125, which is action resulting from the public hearing. It's a lease agreement between Greensville County and Washington Park LLC for the Washington Park Community Center. Mr. Pope, do you have anything additional you would like to add? We need a motion.
Move to approve resolution 21-125. Second.
And move in second to approve resolution 21-125. All in favor with roll call vote.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. Kane.
Aye.
Mr. Cole.
Our next item on the agenda is items of appointment. Ms. Janelle Wilson, clerk of court for Port of Greensville, is here to request COVID-19 bonuses for the Greensville and Port clerk of court staff. Ms. Wilson? And you can adjust the mic if needed.
Hello, distinguished members of the board. I'm here to ask for a one-time bonus for the staff at Greensville and Port Combined Court because of their hard work and dedication that they provided during this time. They all came to work because of the way that we work at the clerk's office. We are able to work remotely from home, so we had to come in and we were able to provide emergency services to the citizens of the county and the city. That's all.
Do you all have any questions for Ms. Wilson?
This is combined court, right? Is the city gonna pay part of this?
Well, I also presented them with the same letter that I gave you all.
Let me ask you this. Are these funds you have in your budget, or you asking us directly from the local locales to come up with the funds?
I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I said, right now, a lot of times in your budget, you have funds, you're asking us for bonus. Are you asking us because you have funds, or you're asking us because you're asking us to pay the bonus funds?
Asking to pay the bonus fund.
Do you all want to proceed tonight and take action, or do you want to discuss this and revisit it at the next board meeting?
Defer.
Okay, defer to, thank you, to the next board meeting. Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda for items of appointment, we have Ms. Jennifer Turnstall, the Executive Director with District 19 Community Services Board. Ms. Tunstall will be present to address the board regarding information on their services and speak with us in regards to the Marcus Alert System. Ms. Tunstall.
Good evening. Guys, thank you for allowing me to come before you tonight and present information on District 19 Community Services Board. My name is Jennifer Tunstall, and I'm the Executive Director for District 19 Community Services Board. And I've also brought with me Terrell Stewart, who is the Director of our Community and Crisis Services. And I'm going to ask her to speak on behalf of our emergency services towards the end of my presentation. So District 19 is a multi-jurisdictional, community-based organization for public behavioral health. And our mission is to improve the quality and productivity of lives for individuals who experience or who are at risk of experiencing mental disabilities and/or substance use. We are licensed by the Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to provide mental health, intellectual and developmental disability, substance abuse, and prevention services to the citizens of the cities of Colonial Heights, Emporia, Hopewell, and Petersburg, and the counties of Dinwiddie, Greensville, Prince George, Surrey, and Sussex. We have a voluntary board of directors that provides oversight to District 19. And if you'll see on the list, we have Colonel Mark Shiplett is the representative for Greensville County. And our Greensville Emporia Clinic is located just right across the parking lot from this facility. The services that District 19 CSB offers include mental health, intellectual and developmental disability, substance use disorder services. And we also offer emergency services for people in crisis. We provide early intervention services for youth, children, and prevention services to reduce risk and promote wellness. In FY20, we provided direct services to 4,722 individuals. Some of the adult services that we provide include mental health case management, psychosocial rehabilitation, substance use services, the IWORK program, psychiatric nursing, psychiatry nursing services, transitional living and supportive housing, intellectual and developmental disability services, and our program for assertive community treatment, which is called PACT. Our child and adolescent services in FY20 were school-based therapy, juvenile corrections, prevention, mental health case management, intellectual and developmental disability case management, court services, and early intervention. Our community integration and crisis services include emergency services, which is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, same-day access, crisis intervention teams, crisis assessment centers, and mental health outpatient therapy. We have developed a new division in FY21 where it is the Developmental Disability Services Division and serves both children and adults for ID and DD case management as well as prevention. And this slide just shows you the individuals served in FY20 and how they are divided into different services based on whether they receive mental health, substance use, intellectual or developmental disability, or emergency and ancillary services. And this slide breaks down the services by locality that District 19 has served in FY20. And then as you can see on this slide, we have specifically the services provided in FY20 to Greensville County individuals. So for mental health services, there were 69 adults and 16 children or adolescents. For developmental services, there were 10 adults and 3 children or adolescents. For substance use disorder services, there were 30 adults and 0 children. And then for emergency or ancillary services, there were 60 adults and 34 child and adolescent services. So this breaks down the total for Greensville County by division and by children and adults. District 19 funding is through a combination of public and private sector funding. Our funding does come from federal, state, and local entities. We do have a high volume of individuals that are uninsured. Of course, that has decreased with Medicaid expansion. We also get service revenue from Medicaid and also from other resources. We did begin accepting some commercial insurances back in February of 2019. And this slide just shows you a breakdown of the funding that we received in FY20. So being a public behavioral health entity, we do have a local match, funding match requirement for the localities that District 18 serves. And in FY21, our state funding contribution was 8.5 million, and so the local match requirement was a little over 900,000. And also this is based on state funding that is known as, some of those funding streams do change throughout the year. Due to the CARES Act funding and other restricted funding amounts that we are unsure of, the local funding requests for all of the 9 localities that District 19 serves will be level funding requests, and those have already been sent to all the localities through the appropriate means. So that concludes my portion of the services and operations at District 19. I want to turn it over to Terrell Stewart to discuss the Marcus Alert, as this is new legislation that does impact all of District 19 localities.
Good evening. I'm here to discuss the Marcus Alert. The Marcus Alert stands for Mental Health Awareness Response and Community Understanding Services Alert System. It was named for a gentleman named Marcus David Peters, who was shot by Richmond police in 2018 during the behavioral health crisis. This alert system will be a series of protocols aimed to divert to the behavioral health care system, and if law enforcement has to respond, they will be specialized. They also want to have protocols in place to divert from 911 to a crisis call center. There will be MOUs for law enforcement to serve as backup for crisis response. Also, they want to have a minimum and best practices standard across the state of Virginia for law enforcement when they are required to respond. What Marcus Alert is seeking to implement is to reform the governmental response to Virginia's behavioral health crisis, and also to make sure that there are a set of rules, regulations, and guidelines for response teams across the state that make sure when someone is in crisis that there's no force first. The overall goal is to provide crisis services that are rooted in a framework with essential elements and is based on national best practices. We also want to be able to support the rights of all Virginians, no matter where they live, what their race or ethnicity is, so they can have access to behavioral health care in a safe and timely fashion. Also, we would like to decrease the reliance on law enforcement to respond first to behavioral health crisis. This will also make sure that Virginians who may have a disability have care that's trauma-focused, and when law enforcement does have to respond, they will be specialized in nature and have support on the scene. Our timeline for this goes as follows. By July 1st, 2021, we will begin planning for the diverse stakeholders input to make sure that we have all the requirements that the state has expressed need to be included in all Marcus Alert plans. By December 2021, the 5 initial areas covered will have all components of Marcus Alert in place. Please note, District 19 was not selected as an initial area to roll out this initiative. By July 1st, 2022, all localities will be covered by Marcus Alert in some form or fashion, with the first 5 selected CSBs having their response teams in place as well. The plan is to make sure response teams are built out until all of the state is covered. Now, what are we doing in D19 to prepare for this? We have been taking steps toward readiness by researching similar geographic areas and multi-jurisdictional models across this state and across the country to make sure we can implement some of their best practices. We also have been seeking representation on the state group so we can stay informed about the new measures. However, D19 was not selected as a representative of the statewide group, but we do attend the Marcus Alert listening sessions and we participate in the regional groups that have been held about this initiative. The next thing is to form a local group in order to make sure that when we do get the protocols from the state, we can roll it out across our catchment. And this group will be built upon our foundation of our current stakeholders group that is held for CIT, and we meet at least every quarter. Once we know who needs to be included in this initiative, we will ask for additional city, county, government partners, community stakeholders, and others to be invited to be on this team. During the first year, we will be working to develop our plan and determine who will be included in the group. We also will work to decide what will work better as far as having mobile crisis, community care, or a co-responder model in our area. We will have to have a plan submitted to DVHDS by July 1st, 2022. If you would like more information about how Virginia is working to set up their new crisis services, you can go to crisisnow.com to find that information. We really want to make sure we're working to divert to the mental health system and away from law enforcement when it's not necessary. Also want to make sure we're improving safety and make sure we have better outcomes for anyone who needs behavioral health treatment in our state. And we also want to make sure we have a health-centered approach for individuals in crisis and to make sure that when law enforcement responds, it is specialized in nature and it's less force. Thank you very much.
Again, thank you for allowing us to do the presentation. And one thing I failed to mention is for additional information on our services, how to contact us or get included for same-day access services, we do have a website. It's d19csc.com. You can also just do a search for District 19 Community Services Board, and you'll be directed to our website as well. Questions?
All right, if there are no questions, Ms. Tunstall and Ms. Stewart, we greatly appreciate you all coming and speaking with the board as well as the members of the community and providing us with an overview of the services that D19 provides as well as an overview of the Marcus Alert System. And we greatly appreciate these essential services that you provide to the Greensville and Emporia area.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda is citizens' comments. When you come forward, if you will please state your name and address. Mr. Slayton, our county attorney, has some information to add in regards to that.
The board asked me to review its protocol for citizens' comments, which it has previously adopted. First of all, each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. I'll keep time. As a courtesy, I'll let you know when you have 1 minute left in the chair. Excuse me, and I will let you know when your time is up. The board will not engage in a dialogue, will not answer questions. They're here to listen to you, find out what's on your mind, and listen to what you have to say. You're welcome, if you wish, to endorse the remarks of a prior speaker. You have the right to repeat it, but if you don't want to, you can say you endorse someone's earlier speaker's comments. And finally, the board requests that there be no applause or outbursts during any presentation. Let's all treat each other with respect and dignity. So with that, Mr. Chair, you could open the floor for citizens' comment. But ask also, I'm sorry, that each speaker state his or her name and address before speaking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good evening. Tina Altry, 4301 Purdy Road in Oregon. I'm coming before you tonight, as well as many others, to show my support for Mrs. Brenda Parson, who graciously served Greensville County for 32 years. Mrs. Brenda Parson dedicated her time by improving Greensville County and trying to make a difference in the lives of the citizens. I do not understand why someone with her vast knowledge and 32 years of experience with Greensville County would be terminated by a 3-1 vote by this board. Greensville County is in the beginning of the new budget season. Clearly, this abrupt decision cannot be in the best financial interest for our county. The process of creating a balanced budget is nowhere near completion. This board, who was elected on January the 1st, 2020, is relatively new and inexperienced. I feel that this board has not held the positions long enough to know how local government operates. And now the very person who had the knowledge and experience to oversee the business of the county has been terminated. As far as I'm aware, only one budget meeting has been held. How does this board intend to have a balanced budget for approval by June the 30th
as required by state code. Going forward, who will have the knowledge necessary to make the financial decisions and to create a financially sound budget for our county? And one last question. What is this board's plan for our county? And I'm a little bit upset that one of our board members left when a meeting has not been adjourned. Is our county and the citizens here not important as to what we had to say and what is going on? Thank you.
Good afternoon, my name is Mike Gray. I reside at 583 Scotland Drive, Jarrett, Virginia, Greensville County. And I would first like to say, I would like that I'm also disappointed we don't have the full board here tonight. But I would ask, I noticed I'm hearing impaired, and most of the board members, y'all are not speaking into the microphone. Everyone else being good to hear you, but I can't. So as a favor to me, when you do speak, just get a little closer to the mic so I can hear you. So I'm disappointed that Ms. Astrop left the meeting. I hope everything's okay with her. I'm disappointed in this board as its entirety. I'm embarrassed by this board. And I think this board makes decisions that are not in the best interest of Greensville County. Personally, I came before this board before and explained the process of how I was almost victimized by this board, meddling in my job, making decisions, trying to make decisions. They were ill, I don't know what the purpose was, but it was not for the betterment of this community. And I think we've done the same thing with Ms. Parsons. I think we've made a decision that is not in the best interest of the community. And I know that the attorney said we won't get an answer, but I gotta ask you, did you let her go because she wasn't qualified? Did you let her go because she did something wrong? Did you let her go because she's female? Did you let her go because she was white? I mean, I don't know. You're gonna leave me guessing what you were thinking, because I think it's an absolute tragedy. I think you made a mistake that you're gonna have a hard time recovering from. So I do wish you luck, but I wish somebody would answer the question one day that this community asks. That's all I got. Thank you.
My name is Clint Slate. I reside at 103 Peachtree Lane in Fort, Virginia. City resident, I've said before, county taxpayer. I'm here to speak tonight as a former fireman and honorary fireman, representing all the firemen and all honorary firemen. Got a couple sitting in the back. I'm here tonight to talk about why these volunteers' personal vehicles are not insured. And my biggest problem is, I talked about it over a week ago, and to my knowledge, ain't nothing been done. That is a 911 service, and nothing about it is plain. If I want to work in 301 in my business, if I don't have proper insurance, I can delay my work. Now you tell me when that dispatcher at that sheriff's office or that dispatcher at that city office down there makes a call, ain't none of it plain. It might go off before I finish speaking here tonight. Not gonna dang anybody for trying to get a bonus for the employees, but I dare say, nobody in this building, not now building in the city of Attorney, has put themselves more at risk, whether it be COVID or some fool on 95, texting, talking, running in guns, than these firemen have standing out there, coming in contact with people they don't know. Now, I know for me, going into that court or trying to go into that clerk's office, you would think that I had never lived here and nobody had ever laid eyes on me. I walk up there like I'm just some fool on the street. That's how I get treated. Well, these firemen out there, they're dealing with fools. Fools they ain't never seen most of the time. You got good people, you got bad people. So how we can sit in here and defer? That was a wonderful word. Defer. I want my 2 minutes and 5 seconds later. I got you. How we can sit here and defer about a bonus, but we ain't done nothing about this insurance. I'm talking about like this emergency. When you get up in the morning, have as much far as I got to a job and your passion, your community, get in gear. And if you can't get in gear, Clint Slate puts folks in gear every day. I'm good at it. If y'all need some inspiration, let me know. And if nobody's qualified to read an insurance policy, I promise you, I got a lot of insurance. And I'm well insured. And if you need me to help you, I will take the time as a county taxpayer to sit down with you and assist you when something needs to be done, and it needs to be done now with no more delay. Thank you.
Any more comments?
Any additional citizens' comments before we move on? If there are no other comments, we'll move on to other matters. Resolution 21-126, procurement of contract for countywide litter pickup. Staff is requesting authorization to procure a contract for countywide litter pickup on the roadways. Mr. Pope?
Good evening. I know the board, as well as most of the citizens of Greensville County, are tired of the electric trash they see on the side of our county roads. There's several things we've done to address this problem. We've utilized labor from community corrections. I've assisted numerous groups in adopting the highway. But it's a shame that people don't have any more respect for our community than what they do. If the board would like, I'd be glad to put together an RFP and advertise to get prices for roadside pickup throughout the county. I've talked to several people at VDOT, I've talked to several people at North Carolina VDOT. The prices they seem to be getting per mile, it depends on the classification of a road, but it's anywhere from $40 to $70 per mile is what North Carolina and Virginia VDOT is paying for roadside pickup with their contractors. So if you wish for me to put out an RFP to request proposals, I'll be glad to. And if so, I just ask you to approve the attached resolution.
I can say this, putting out signs is a fine, but a fine needs to be on the sign. Because if you put the sign out, I don't see this will stop the trash.
I'll get with VDOT, and I sent y'all the fines the other day, but I can get with VDOT to see if we can put a placard on the sign as maximum penalty.
Right now, we can get right, you know, and so that.
I didn't put signs like all over, I don't think it helps, but yeah, we'll
Right,
wait that.
because, you know, if I'm in North Carolina, it says $250 fine, so we catch somebody going trash out, and they need to be fined.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, I think when it comes to miles, I think they think that's what it's supposed to do, trash out.
Yeah. I can get with VDOT and get a placard on each sign.
It's a shame it's come to this. People don't have the respect that they need. But I think we need to approve resolution 21-126 to make this happen. Gotta clean our county up.
Second.
Been moved and second that we approve resolution 21-126. All in favor with a roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
Mr. Conrad?
Next item on the agenda is resolution 21-127, Washington Park Community Facility Service Provider Agreement between Greensville County and Washington Park Group LLC. Mr. Pope?
Okay, the Department of Housing and Community Development requires the locality to enter into a service provider agreement with any organization to provide services in a community facility funded with DHCD funds. This is a DHCD form. It's basically a fill-in-the-blank form. It looks similar to a lease, but it talks about the services that provide, the record keeping they have to do. Staff, if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. But staff is asking that the board approve the service provider agreement between Greensville County and Washington Park LLC and allow the county administrator to sign.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 21-127.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve resolution 21-127. All in favor with a roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King.
Aye.
Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Next, we have two proclamations in recognition of National Line Workers Appreciation Day. One is for Dominion Virginia Power, and the other is for Mecklenburg Electric Cooperative. Ms. Kathy Howard will come forward and read the proclamation, and if there are any employees from either Dominion Virginia Power or Mecklenburg Electric that would like to accept the proclamation on behalf, please come forward as well. Ms. Howard.
Good evening.
Good evening.
A proclamation recognizing and celebrating April the 12th, 2021 as National Line Worker Appreciation Day. Whereas line workers leave their families and put their lives on the line every day to keep the power on. And whereas line workers work 365 days a year under dangerous conditions to build, maintain, and repair the electric infrastructure. And whereas line workers are the first responders of the electric company, restoring power and making things safe for all after storms and accidents. And whereas there would be no electric company without the brave men and women who comprise our core of line workers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim April 12, 2021 as National Line Worker Appreciation Day in Greensville County and recognizes the contributions of these valuable men and women to Dominion Virginia Power and America's electric infrastructure. A proclamation recognizing and celebrating April 12, 2021 as National Line Worker Appreciation Day. Whereas line workers leave their families and put their lives on the line every day to keep the power on, and whereas line workers work 365 days a year under dangerous conditions to build, maintain, and repair the electric infrastructure, and whereas line workers are the first responders of the electric cooperatives, restoring power and making things safe for all storms and accidents. And whereas there would be no electric cooperatives without the brave men and women who comprise our core of line workers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors does hereby proclaim April 12, 2021 as National Line Worker Appreciation Day in Greensville County and recognizes the contributions of these valuable men and women to Mecklenburg Electric Cooperative and America's electric infrastructure.
Thank you, Ms. Howerton. We appreciate the service that the men and women of the electric cooperatives as well as the electric companies provide our citizens in the area and wanted to recognize them with those proclamations. Our next item on the agenda, board and commission appointments. The first item we have on the agenda is the Building Appeals Board. It's an at-large appointment for a term of 3 years. The present appointee is Mr. Michael Lee Grizzard. His term expires on April the 30th, 2021. Mr. Grizzard has agreed to serve another term. We will need a motion to approve and roll call.
I move we approve Mr. Grizzard to serve another term.
Been moved in second, that Mr. Grizzard serve another term. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. King. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
The next item with appointment for boards and commissions is the Greensville and Emporia Airport Commission. It's an at-large appointment for a term of 4 years. The present appointee is Mr. Richard Short. His term expires on April the 30th, 2021. Mr. Short has agreed to serve another term. We need a motion as well as roll call.
I move we approve Mr. Short to serve another term.
It's been moved in second, that Mr. Grizzard serve another term at the airport. All in favor with a roll call vote?
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Mr. King. Mr. Carroll.
Aye.
The next item with appointment is Planning Commission. This is an election district appointment for a term of 4 years. The present appointee is Mrs. Diane Barnes Rhodes. Her term expires on April the 30th, 2021. Ms. Rhodes has agreed to serve another term. We need a motion as well as roll call.
I move we approve Mr. Rhodes to serve another term.
Second.
Been moved and second, that Ms. Rose serve as another term in the election district. All in favor with roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
The next item on the agenda is miscellaneous matters. A is the staff work programs, B is the staff meeting minutes. Those are located in your Friday memo as well as your agenda. Do you all have any questions in regards to those? If not, Mr. Brown, we need a motion to adjourn. I ask that you adjourn, you need a motion to adjourn to the next budget work session, which will be Monday, April the 19th at 3 p.m.
So moved. Been moved and second to adjourn to April the 19th, 3 p.m. All in favor with roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
I'd like to make a motion that we go back to the regular session of water and sewer.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
Motion for the certification of closed meeting, SW 21-39.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
A motion for approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
Approval of the consent agenda.
Move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King?
Aye.
Mr. Conway?
Public hearing, none. Item of appointment, none. Old business, none. New business, WS 2140.
And Ms. Lois Powell is here to present in regards to that.
Good evening. Before you is resolution WS 21-40. It is to, ACI payments, which was formerly known as official payments. GCWSA e-services online bill pay has been completed and implemented for Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority customers as of February 26th of this year. Whereas Greensville County Water and Sewer e-services allows transparency to our customers by providing access to their account information and make payments online. The customers are utilizing the new GCWSA e-services, and there is no longer a need for the ACI payments, which is formerly official payments. Official payments is only an online payment service. They do not allow account access for the customers. And it's caused some confusion because customers will pay for other entities such as the city, or they'll put in the wrong account number and it'll be for someone that has that account number with us. So now therefore we resolve that the Board of Directors of Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority hereby approve the suspension of ACI payments effective May 30th of 2021.
I move we approve resolution WS 21-40.
Second.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. King? Mr. Conway?
Aye.
Also included in your packet is a PowerPoint for the new e-services online bill pay. I just included it so you could see how easy it was for the customers and what information that they can see when they go online and log in. And it has been well received. In the first month, we've already had 10% of our customer base using the e-services. So everyone seems to like it and have good compliments about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Work program, staff meeting. WS 2140.
I cannot hear you at all. I'm sorry.
WS 2140.
Mr. Gary Mitchell is here to report in regards to that resolution.
Good evening. I'm here this evening to try to resolution of the WS 21-41 general maintenance services. We have, in your agenda package, it's got everything in it. It's, Green County Water and Sewer Authority, GCWSA wishes to request proposals for the procurement of generator maintenance services. GCWSA determined procurement of the said services by competitive and sealed bid is neither practical nor physically advantageous. GCWSA has determined the best interest of GCWSA's customers would be served by procurement
of said service through competitive negotiation to afford contractors some flexibility in making proposals and enable the GCWSA staff to evaluate proposals based on the services provided. Any questions?
I move we approve resolution WS 21-41 as presented.
I'll second.
Roll call. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Collins?
Aye.
Motion adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Kane? Mr. Collins?
Aye.